Welcome back to the OliviaSea podcast. I have Melissa Ponder here with me today. She is a mermaid performer / freediving instructor. So go ahead and introduce yourself. That's what we'll be talking about today, about mermaid stuff.
I'm Melissa. I'm from Monterey, California originally. I live in Tucson, Arizona now. So I used to be a mermaid performer in California. Living in Tucson, I don't really have much opportunity to do mermaid stuff, but I still love being a mermaid. I love being in the water. I love the ocean, lakes, everything to do with the water and mermaiding. So
a lot of people don't know what mermaiding means. So can you explain that for us?
It's basically just putting on like a mermaid tail costume and swimming.
So anyone can be a mermaid?
Anyone can be a mermaid if you know how to swim.
So how did you become a mermaid then? Like, what inspired you? Like, one day wake up and say, I want to be a mermaid today.
Well, I've always loved mermaid stuff. Like, for my whole life, I've always been obsessed with mermaids. And then there was this place in California, Sacramento, called Dive Bar. Mm-hmm. And they have this really big aquarium that hangs over the bar.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and they have mermaid performers that swim around in the tank. And I went there and I saw it and I just knew I had to be a part of it. So eventually I got to be, and that was my first real mermaid
And
experience.
You kind of stumbled upon this place, or did you know of the dive bar?
I just kind of stumbled upon it. I saw an advertisement for it in a hotel and I thought it looked cool, so we went there.
I would go there. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And then did you just apply, like, hey, I can swim, I have a tail, can I be a mermaid?
I actually started by winning a contest. So they have this contest called Mermaid for a Night, and you just submit a picture, and then they pick people to be in the contest, and people in the bar vote for who they want to be in the mermaid.
Oh, really?
Tank.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I entered that, and I won, so I got to be a mermaid, and they train you for like a month before you actually get to do the performance, because there's a lot of safety stuff you need to learn, basically learn how to freedive like a little bit. So they train you, and then you get to do a mermaid performance. That's what I did.
And so you're doing these performances, and they're training you how to do these performances. Do they teach you how long you should hold your breath, or are there like any techniques to hold your breath longer when you're performing?
Not really. The mermaids don't usually hold their breath for that long because we kind of have to do exhale dives to get down to the bottom of the tank.
That makes sense.
We wear weights inside the tail, but not really enough to get down to like sit on the bottom of the tank. So I'm always exhaling a lot of my air to get to where I want to be.
So you're just pushing all the air out of your lungs when you say that?
Yeah, so I could be negatively buoyant.
Okay. And so you say, what's the longest breath hold for a mermaid performer?
At Dive Bar in that tank, I would probably hold for like a minute at most.
That's still pretty long. And you have to like perform and like do tricks and for people to watch? Or,
Yeah, exactly.
And what kind of things would you do?
Just various like swimming techniques like backflips and barrel rolls and handstands.
That's so cute. And were people always like, it was a bar, so there wasn't kids there, but taking pictures of you and stuff, that wasn't awkward?
It was. I'm not really one to get up on stage and do things,
right.
But it was okay because you can't see the audience when you're in the tank.
I guess.
You can see flashes. Like, you see flashes everywhere when people are taking pictures, and you kind of like are supposed to look towards the flash so that you can like get the person like a good picture. But
I'd be really bad at that. I would just keep turning my head.
I think if I could see the audience through the glass, that it would make me a lot more nervous.
And so were there fish with you in the tank? Or
Yeah, there were fish.
So there were like tropical fish? Or?
Yeah, tropical fish.
Huh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the questions I had from someone, since we're talking about fish, was what was your favorite fish?
I don't really have a favorite fish.
I know.
I love manatees. That's my thing. Like, I really love manatees. But fish, like, I can't even think of fish.
Nemo,
Yeah.
Dory.
Yeah, I don't know.
No favorite fish. She has no favorite fish,
I'm
guys.
not a fish person.
So sorry. But you do like manatees.
I love manatees, yeah.
Would you say that's like your passion towards the ocean? Because I know you adopted a manatee.
I did. So I've also loved manatees for my whole life as much as I've loved mermaids. And in Florida, there's this place called OliviaSea Homosassa Springs Wildlife State Park, and they have an adopt a manatee program. So I adopted a manatee when I was little, and her name is Ariel, and I love her.
So you still have her adopted, right?
Yep.
That's so cute. And you go visit her?
I go visit her, yeah.
That's so cute.
She's so special and she's so fun.
And so do you like manatees because isn't there a tie between mermaids and manatees?
Yeah, there's that like saying that like sailors used to see manatees and think that they were mermaids. I don't know too much about like mermaid lore and how true all that is. But yeah, manatees and mermaids are kind of tied together that way.
But is that the reason why you like manatees, or it just happened to work out that way?
Yeah, I think maybe like I was too young to remember like why I liked mermaids or manatees, but I just know that I always have liked them both.
So they must be similar then when the pirates saw them back in the day, because you like both, right? And so you mean lure them in? Is that what the sirens do? Do you know the difference between a mermaid and a siren? Because I don't know the difference.
Yeah, well, I would say like mostly they're kind of the same thing, but a siren's more of like an evil mermaid, I would say, like the kind that does lure sailors to their death by singing to them. And mermaids are just kind of like nicer.
So do you ever dress up or as a siren, or just strictly mermaid?
Just mermaid. I mean, you could call it a siren or a selkie. You could call it whatever you want.
You can just be evil for a day?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. I'm pretty nice, I think. But so I call myself a mermaid, but I don't know. Siren and mermaid are pretty interchangeable.
Well, you can just wear different makeup, right? If you want to look more mean or whatever.
I guess. I wouldn't know how to, really.
I wouldn't know how to. Maybe like darker makeup. I've seen ones
like
that
creepier makeup.
Green or something, like really hardcore, or like have different shapes of ears or something.
Yeah.
I've seen that in certain like fantasy things, but isn't it like, is Harry Potter, isn't that sirens? Or no?
They're mermaids. Mer people is what they call them.
You would know more about that.
Yeah.
You like the Harry Potter stuff?
I'm a huge Harry Potter nerd, and I love the Harry Potter mermaid stuff in the Triwizard Tournament. That's like my favorite part of the books.
Well, it has to be, right?
Yeah, of course.
I think you read the books too, of course. I think I've seen the movies once, but
you haven't read the books?
No, I read them.
Why are we friends?
Because you love me. We both like the ocean. Duh. Man. No, I read like the first 3, but then I don't know what happened.
You can't just watch the movies. You have to read the books.
Okay. I think you're not the first person to tell me this.
Of course not.
Of course not.
What are you doing with your life? Read Harry Potter.
I'm more of a Star Wars nerd.
Ugh, Star Wars.
Why are we friends?
Oh,
so good. Speaking of movies, have you seen the new Little Mermaid thing they have going on? Like, do you have any thoughts on the live action?
I've seen like who they casted for it. I don't really know much about it other than that. I think that's like that's all that they've announced really is the casting.
Yeah, and there's a lot of drama going on about that.
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion, or I mean, I'm going to go see it either way.
Yeah,
it's
for
Little
sure.
Mermaid.
I don't really have an opinion. If Disney thought that, I don't even know her name, but if they thought that she was the right person, then I'm sure that she is. Disney always casts right, so. And
you know that a lot of people are just going to go see it anyway, so I think people just want to talk because they want to talk, you know? But what are you going to do? So I mentioned in the intro as well that you are a freediving instructor, and that's kind of how we met.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that? I mean, well, yeah, because we met in the class, and that's how I was so intrigued with you. Because before you came in, I got there a little earlier, and Jimmy said, "Oh, you're gonna like this girl. She's a mermaid." I'm like, "What the heck does that mean?" and it turned out we hit it off. But now you're a freediving instructor. How do you like that?
I like it. It's good. It enables me to do a lot more freediving, I think, since I get to work with students. It's fun. Yeah.
Do you think it would have helped you in your mermaid performances if you did freediving first?
Probably. It probably would have helped, but I think being a mermaid first also helped my freediving.
That's true.
Yeah, I think that. Well, I like to think that I have pretty good finning technique because I already knew how to swim with a monofin and how to be comfortable in the water. So I think either way, whichever one would have come first, I think they both are helpful to each other.
Yeah, because your swimming techniques would be the same as the monofin. And you have your tail here with you today.
I do.
Because we wanted to show you guys what her tail looked like. I've seen pictures on her Instagram and stuff like that, and it's beautiful, but I wanted to see it in person. So I guess we could bring it up now. It's a really, for those of you that are listening and not watching this on my YouTube channel, because you can watch this as well, it is a pretty green with some yellow. It's kind of almost like a pineapple color, like green and blue.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
and it's a lot heavier than I thought it was.
It's pretty heavy, and this one's a lot lighter than my silicone ones too.
So does this count as the weight in your tail, or
no? This is pretty neutrally buoyant, so I also have to wear some lead weights inside the tail.
But where would you put it inside the tail?
In between my legs, like strapped in between my legs.
Oh, so you just like wear a belt like between your legs with these.
Kind of like an A-strap bandage with weights. Okay. Yeah.
And is that hard to slip on and off?
It is. It's a pain in the butt.
And where do you like practice at the pool?
I don't really practice in the mermaid tail at the pool because
it would cause a lot of attention.
Yes,
right?
It would, and they kind of frown on it.
What?
At least the pool that I go to, they don't allow mermaid tails. The pool that I do freediving training at, they don't allow mermaid tails. And it does get a lot of weird looks.
I feel like a lot of people will be intrigued into what you were doing and why you have a mermaid tail. Just like when we go freediving and we bring our fins or whatever, there's always someone that walks up to us.
Yeah.
And like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah,
Why are those fins so long? I don't understand. So I feel like people would ask the same questions.
Yes. So imagine all the attention we get freediving, but like times 10 with a mermaid tail.
That would drive me nuts. Because when I get there, I just want to focus and just dive and swim. That would drive me nuts. But I guess you kind of know that going in that you're going to get some bit of attention because that is so abnormal to see. But now it's coming up more and more about the whole mermaid thing, which I think is really cool. So I tried doing some research before doing this podcast, and there's actually a lot more mermaids than I thought out there, like doing their things like parties and festivals and like even the Renaissance Fair here in Tucson or I guess Florence, they have the Renaissance Fair where they have mermaids there too.
They do.
And would you consider doing it there at the fair?
Maybe. I don't love the tank that they have there. It's pretty boring. I think
I've seen it.
Yeah, I saw it a few years ago. It's kind of just like a big open tank with no fish in it.
Oh, I guess it is a traveling fair. So
yeah, if I had the opportunity, I probably would. I just don't think it's as interesting as the other things that I've done.
Right. What is like your dream place to dive as a mermaid? Do you have one?
Yeah, the Singapore Zoo.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, so they have mermaid performers there, and they actually have manatees in the tank where the mermaids are. So that's like my two favorite things combined.
Oh my god, I would die.
Yeah, so if I could be a mermaid in a nice big aquarium with manatees, like that's the dream.
That's the dream. Oh my gosh, that would be my dream, just to be in the tank with the manatees.
Yeah.
I know, like in Florida, you can swim with them, but they're very protective of them.
Yeah, you swim with them in the wild, and they are very protected in Florida.
I get.
Yeah, it makes sense, and it's good for them. But as a mermaid, I kind of want to dive down and swim with them.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Just to have that connection with the manatee would be really cool. You got to get that on your list. You got to go out there and do it.
It's definitely on my list, yeah.
I can't wait for you to do it one day. You're going to do it. And I'm going to be so excited for you. So I want to talk a little bit more about your freediving stuff. So what's your goal with freediving? Do you want to just stop as an instructor?
I like being an instructor, but I also have other goals too. Mainly just to get as good as I can, get deeper, go further, hold my breath longer, just improve overall.
Because you improved really quickly. We took the class together. I also have a really busy schedule, so I can't swim as much as you. But you improved really quickly. I think it's because of your mermaid thing too. You had that background where you would just swim consistently, and then you had your monofin, which was very similar to your tail, and so you reached the instructor status less than a year, right?
Yeah, I did.
Which was really cool. So now she's going to be my instructor when we go and practice together. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have.
Okay.
Unless you want to talk about something in particular.
I don't know.
No.
What do people want to know?
Oh, people want to know if you pee in your tail.
Do I pee in my mermaid tail?
Yeah.
I don't think I have. I pee in my wetsuit for sure all the time.
Everybody pees in their wetsuit.
Yeah, that's a normal thing, but I don't think I have peed in my mermaid tail. I'm never in it long enough to need to.
Well, don't you have more than one? You never peed in any one?
I don't think so. No.
You don't think so, or you know?
Well, not that I can recall specifically. I'm not opposed to it if I needed to, but I just don't think I have.
Well, have you dived in the ocean with the tail, or just like lakes or pools?
Yeah, lakes, pools, oceans, like pretty much everything.
Never once peed in it.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not in it for very long usually. But
there you go, folks. She doesn't pee in her mermaid tail.
But
it's such a letdown. I thought she peed in her mermaid tail. I mean, I didn't pee in my wetsuit for the longest time just because I bought it and it wasn't a rental. So I didn't want to ruin my wetsuit. I paid so much money for it. So, and I guess it's the same thing. It's so...
Well, I'd kind of be the other way. Like, I wouldn't want to pee in a rental wetsuit, but I'd pee in mine all the time. Remind me to never let you borrow my wetsuit.
Well, I wouldn't do it to yours.
Just the rentals.
Just the rentals. No, I only used the rentals once, and I remember one of my friends wearing a rental, and she pees in her wetsuit all the time, and she goes, "Oh, it's just a rental." So I was like, "I'm never wearing one of those again." And so now I just wear mine. I don't want to pee in it because it's not a rental. So that's just my mindset.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never gonna pee in my wetsuit. But I have. I finally broke down and peed in my wetsuit.
Oh yeah.
It was San Diego. It was cold. What can you say?
Good way to warm it up.
Right. And do you have another question? Was the your most favorite place that you explored as a mermaid?
Probably Lake Tahoe. Just because the visibility is so good. But it is super cold there, which isn't good for a mermaid because we have so much skin exposed and the tail doesn't really do anything for warmth. So it's kind of uncomfortable there, but it's beautiful.
Was there anything there to see? Because I'm more interested in like the marine animals, obviously.
Yeah, as far as marine animals, there's not much at Lake Tahoe. Just like pretty rocks and that kind of thing. Crystal clear water with nice rock formations, I guess.
I guess that's why it's a little colder, because it's so crystal clear, right?
Yeah.
And another question was, do you have to be a certain weight to perform? You know how like Disney princesses have to be a certain weight and size and like height and everything?
Yeah.
You don't really have to be anything in particular, right?
Not for what I've done, as far as I know. Maybe there is at dive bar. I don't know if there is like
certain places.
Yeah, certain places might have requirements like that. I don't know.
The only place I was thinking when I was asked this question, or to ask you, would be like a certain type of modeling agency or something. If they wanted you to dress as a mermaid, you had to be a certain size or to fit into whatever they provide you.
Yeah,
I don't even know if that's even true either.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there is. There might be, just depending on the agency. I'm fairly skinny, so I've never had to worry about that.
You're so tiny, so it doesn't matter. But I don't know if like they like talk to you when you're at the dive bar or whatever, and you're going against these other girls. If there was like a weight limit.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Well, probably. I think if there was someone that was kind of overweight, they would probably not even try out anyways, just because they would assume that they wouldn't be able to do it. Maybe I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But that was one of the questions. I'm like, well, this is going to be interesting to ask.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, anyone can be a mermaid. Mermaid tail makers make tails like super extra large tails, so anyone can get a mermaid tail pretty much.
She's been trying to get me to be a mermaid for the longest time since we met.
I know. I showed you that whale shark mermaid tail you should get.
I love whale sharks, but I don't know. I think I'll stick to just freediving and chasing my animals.
I need a mermaid buddy.
Maybe one day.
Soon.
Which I always say to her, maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Maybe
we'll go to the pool next week. Like 10 months later. We haven't been to the pool.
I'm sorry. I'm so busy. I got my second job. And then one last question. If you had to pick freediving or being a mermaid for the rest of your life, what would you choose? I think I know the answer to this one.
What do you think the answer is?
Freediving.
Freediving?
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, I think mermaiding kind of has an age limit, you know? Maybe more so than the weight thing that you just asked me about. Maybe age is more of a limiting factor. No one really wants to watch like a wrinkly old mermaid swimming around.
You never know. Someone might be into that.
But I mean, freedivers can be any age. Like Natalia Molchanova, the great freediver, she was pretty old when she was breaking all of her records. So you can freedive for a long time.
What about kids? Can kids be a mermaid?
Sure. Yeah.
I was thinking about getting my niece a mermaid tail.
Oh,
I have to make sure she can swim properly first.
Yeah, I would say swimming lessons are a good way to start. Just make sure the kid's not going to drown, because when you do put on a mermaid tail, you have your legs tied together pretty much, so it can be kind of unsafe if you don't know what you're doing.
If you're not a strong swimmer.
Yeah, and always have adult supervision.
So I guess it doesn't put me in this situation, but anyone that wants to go try being a mermaid, they shouldn't do it alone. They should have someone there.
Yeah, and I would actually suggest first just try swimming with a monofin. That way you can see if you can even do the dolphin kick technique, and then once you perfect that, then put on a mermaid tail.
And the dolphin kick is just like...
Yeah, so dolphin kick, that's when your legs are together and you swim and you kick.
And you kind of look like a mermaid, right?
Yeah, that's opposed to what you do with bifins, which is the flutter kick. So your legs are kicking opposite one another.
Okay. So if I get my niece a mermaid tail, do not leave her alone. Okay. So pretty much anyone can be a mermaid. I can be a mermaid. Maybe one day I'll be a mermaid. But I'll stick to freediving, because it's the same thing. And you can be a freediver wherever, whenever. And I really just want to go and chase marine animals and whales and whatever else I can find. And that's what brought me into freediving. What really brought you into freediving? Was it because of the mermaid thing, or?
I just needed something to do in Tucson. So I don't have any mermaid things to do in Tucson, and I was kind of just like dried up in the desert for a while. I knew that I needed to get back in the water and do something fun. So I looked up scuba shops that offered freediving classes, and 72 Aquatics was the only one in Tucson that offered the freediving course. So I went and signed up, and then we met.
Yay! And so anyone can just walk into the shop here in Tucson if they wanted to join freediving. Yeah. Could they just talk to you or reach out to you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, if you go into 72 Aquatics and ask to sign up for freediving, best bet is to talk to Toby about it, who's usually at the shop. If he's not there, then someone else will probably direct them his way or my way.
Toby's pretty cool. He's going to be on this podcast soon.
Yay.
So you guys will see him soon too. He's a freediving instructor as well. And he's very, very patient, and he knows a lot about freediving, and I recommend him as well. And
he'll have a better answer to your fish question.
Oh my gosh, he loves fish. Like, he can show you so many pictures, literally name so many fish, and I'm just like, I just asked you one question. Oh, I love Toby. So do you have any like projects coming up next? Like, what's your next project that you're working on? Either if it's freediving or mermaiding. Like, what would you say your next project is?
I don't have anything lined up for mermaid stuff at the moment. But for freediving, We have a trip coming up in January to Dahab, Egypt.
Ooh.
Yeah, big freediving trip. So hopefully we can get that rolling and get people signed up for that.
That's really, what would people see there if they went freediving?
All kinds of stuff. So it's the Red Sea, which is amazing for diving.
Yes.
And Dahab is like the freediving mecca. So like all the best freedivers go there to train. There's the Blue Hole, which is really good for training. It's just the best place you can go.
And what about the water temperatures? Do you think it's cold or warmer? I think it'd be warmer.
It's usually, it's definitely warmer than like where I'm from in California, and even probably like Pleasant here. Mm-hmm. But in January, it'll probably be, I actually don't know, but people are saying that it's going to be cold, but my idea of cold is different.
It's different than their idea of cold.
A lot of scuba divers have very low cold tolerance.
Yeah.
But I grew up...
Because we have all this gear on us, so, yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in Monterey swimming in the ocean there where it's like 50 degrees. And I was just there again last week freediving. And I was in a 5 mil. Everyone else was in a 7 mil. And really? I was okay, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're crazy. What was the temp there, do you know?
It was like 57.
57.
Yeah.
That's about decent for Monterey.
Yeah, it's like... getting to Monterey's warm season right now.
Monterey's warm season, 57.
Yeah. Monterey's very cold.
I saw some pictures and you had a seal like that was hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
There was a little seal that joined us for one of our freediving sessions. He just hung out and played with us.
What was the area of Monterey that you dove in?
That day with the seal, that was Monastery Beach, which is actually in Carmel.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Carmel Beach, never actually dived in Monterey. It's one of my goals because that's where I fell in love with the ocean. But yeah, I was super jealous of her trip. She posted all these cool pictures and I wanted to go so bad. But it looked like you had a ton of fun.
Yeah, I did.
And those divers, did they swim just as deep as you? Because I know you go pretty deep sometimes.
Some of them. There's like a pretty big variety of freedivers there. A lot of spearfishers and then people that are into line diving like I am.
Did people catch any fish?
No, not when I went out with them. I was with a couple guys one day that were spearfishing. They didn't see anything.
Well, it was super green.
Yeah, the visibility was very bad.
So I would imagine it's a little hard to hunt.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be around when they're hunting.
Why?
I feel bad for the fish. But I mean, it's not my thing. If I ever went fishing, I would want to toss it back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those.
Okay. Well, I'm not a spearfisher either, but a lot of people that
free dive,
My first freediving class that I taught, both my students were spearfishers. So I'm used to being around spearfishers all the time.
Well, now, because you're the freediving instructor, so you meet all these people, I'm not really used to it.
Yeah.
I think only a spearfisher I know. Is this Toby spearfish?
Not really.
Okay,
he used to have a spearfishing gun, but he doesn't really spearfish. We went to the Yellowtail Open back in April, Toby and I and a few other students, and we were kind of just like hanging out with all the spearfishers, but neither of us are that into it, I don't think, so we were kind of just doing our deeper line diving stuff.
I think it would be fun for me to film spearfishers.
Mm-hmm.
I just wouldn't be a part of it, I think. Like with my own spearfishing gun, if that's how you say it. But I would like to film it because I think it'd be really cool to see like their techniques into, basically hunting and gathering.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be pretty cool.
Do it.
I will. One day. With all my other one-day dreams. I'm getting there.
One day.
But yeah, I think that was all the questions I had from listeners at least. And I think that covers everything about being a mermaid. Like all the questions I had. If anybody else has any other questions, they can get in touch with me on the YouTube channel or just reach out to me. You can also reach out to Melissa on her Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
It's Merlissa Mermaid, so MERLISSA MERMAID.
And I'll put that in the link below as well. So just in case you guys are driving and like listening and like, I'm not going to remember that. And you still want to check out all her cool photos and see her mermaid stuff. And even her freediving stuff is really cool. I'll put that in the link below and you guys can check it out whenever you want. But yeah. Oh, I also had to show Zesty because apparently everyone has been questioning little Zesty. Poor Zesty. He's sleeping right now. He's like, why are you interrupting
Don't wake me up.
But everyone's been requesting for Zesty to be in the podcast because we've been listening to you chew and burp and eat food this whole time.
Zesty. What are you doing?
And this time he decided to be an angel and sleep the whole time. So there, everyone who's watching, there you go. Here's my old man Zesty, the one you guys that everyone's been listening to. He's going to be 13 in September. But thanks everyone for listening. Thank you, Melissa, for joining me on this podcast and talking about mermaid stuff.
Yeah, it was fun.
And we'll see you guys next time. Say bye, Zesty.
Bye.
Bye.